Okay, I found out by doing a lot of observations, I could see things and possibly be able to explain things to where people can understand where my opinion comes from. And this is what I'm going to say, is that this is all my opinion. Horizon line is a hidden horizon, and it can change. Okay, and I'm going to start out by putting out some of the videos where I get a lot of the mirroring. The mirroring effect is what causes a lot of issues with trying to resolve the edge above this water line. You have a visible water line, and then you have an invisible water line. And that invisible water line is easily found when you got even like rocks sticking out like this. Almost split that rock in two, and you see the mirror image underneath it. There's a couple other places here where I can show you. But resolution too, angular resolution, you got to realize it's the angle that I'm shooting at, that I get out to a certain distance, and the water actually, even though it's rough, it will start mirroring the sky. When you mirror the sky, what do you got? A white out black background. It's all whited out. And in this whiteout is where things can be hidden. And this is what I'm going to show in my videos here. Now, I don't want to talk all the way through it because it's quite a long observations. I got into this because I wanted to debunk flat earth to begin with. In my first few videos that I did, I said, yeah, I got them debunked with this. But then when I brought it home and watched it on my computer, there were some things that caught my eye that made me second guess a few things. And this was one of them, this mirroring effect that occurs. Now, these are rocks sticking up out of the water, and if you look at them, they kind of look funky. That's because the true water line, you can actually see the rocks mirroring themselves underneath. They're not a mirage. A mirage is a mirror image. And right here you can see a mirror image underneath the real rock. So again, I use some common sense to look at what I have and what I present, and then I, put my opinion to it. Now, everybody might not agree with my opinion, which is fine, but I bring you as much truth as I possibly can with my videos, my observations. And I have repeatable observations that I've done that I can see a difference in the horizon line almost every day that I go out. Sometimes I can see objects farther in the background, and then sometimes I can't. And this was the issue. Why can't I see those objects in the background on other days? Okay. Now there's some things I want you to remember here. And keep in mind that I videotape pretty much from the same place quite a bit, and I did put a couple videos in here that I didn't from the same spot, but I will let you know which ones they are. I'm going to chime in every now and then and point some things out, so it'll help you get a visual on the area that I'm filming from. So you'll be able to kind of understand what I'm looking at out here. And not only do I film a lot here, as I'm very familiar with the water because I've done a lot of fishing from out of this channel. I leave out of here, look at this sign, you can see it mirroring, and you can't see the top of it because it's in the rougher visible water line. But you can kind of see with your own eyes where that visible water line is, and then you can see how that mirroring effect will cut the lower ends off of, it's like pinching off the object in the background. Okay, it's not going over a curve, it's just being, number one, distorted by the atmosphere, and then it's being also distorted by that mirror. Go to a fun house, walk in there and stand in front of the mirror, some of them fun mirrors. You'll see where half your body gets cut off, like right in the middle of your body. Well, this is the same thing that's occurring out here on the water. And people want to just yell and scream that this is a mirage, this is a mirage. It's not. The object that I'm looking at here isn't a mirage, but remember this tree right here, because I got this. It blew in during one of the storms, and it's out there still today. And I did these videos, I think about a month or so ago. But also look at this bird rack. This bird rack I'm going to bring up in many videos. You can see where it's actually being mirrored up from. And that pole just to the right side, cut it in half, and that's about where the mirror, the actual water line actually is. You cannot see anything. How is it hard to explain? And this mirroring effect, it kind of throws you off. Also, distance throws you off. Trying to judge yourself out on the water is sometimes very hard to do. Now, this day was also a very low tide day, and I was able to get a lot of this mirroring effect. Now, one of the things that I want to bring to your attention is some of the objects that are out in the background. Now, that is a boat that you see, that little blob, but that's that tree. And I want to use that as a reference point in some of my future videos, that you'll be able to see how the horizon line changes, and you'll be able to see farther beyond this point. And, you know, that's where I was actually being deceived by my own eyes when I was looking out here, because it's hard to determine where that water line actually is. Like I said, you have the visible water line and an invisible water line. And later on in this video, I will show you the difference, that you will actually see how this water line or this horizon line actually changes. So I'm going to let it go back to the natural audio, because I don't want to talk for 3 hours during this video. But I put a lot of observational proof in here for you, so I hope you can enjoy it and understand it. Alright, there's going to be a boat coming up from the left-hand side. It's going to have some red or orange to it. Now watch that boat as it comes up, and then it's going to stop. And watch how it settles into the water. That's another thing to look at. Watch how these boats that stop moving settle into the water. It's a good sign that you know, something's getting pinched off here by this mirroring effect that's just above the edge of the water. Okay, there's two places that I can film from at Bayport. One of them is from Bayport by the fishing pier, which does have a little bit of a seawall, so I am up a little bit higher in this video, but only by maybe a foot or two, 3 at the most. But the other place I video is over in a little park where they got a little observation area where you can watch the sunset. A lot of people like watching it over at the fishing area, though, because they do got little benches and picnic tables set up. But I wanted to just bring this to your attention because I'm not going to deceive anybody by saying that I was sitting at water level here. Like I say, my tripod is up 5.5 feet, and I may be 2 or 3 feet above the water, but or 2 or 3 feet above the seawall from where the water actually is. So my camera might be set at about 7.5 feet. Okay, 8.5 feet at the most. But again, I want to bring that to your attention and make it perfectly clear. Alright, in this video you'll notice how calm the water is in places, and it's got like this stripe to it. And look in those striped areas and you see how the water is actually mirroring the sky. It almost looked like a foggy day this particular day, but it really wasn't fog. It was strange because the background looked all fogged out, but as you can see, I got really good footage, and you can see that water goes well beyond that line. And this is the thing that a lot of people do not see. And I didn't see it for the longest time either, but the more I look, I'm actually having to look down at this boat and not eye level. Eye level is further back. It's higher up. Also, you'll notice some markers in the back that you don't normally see in my videos because usually that whole background is all whited out due to the sun's refraction or reflection off the water. And it's that light that will keep you from seeing further out on that horizon. So take that into consideration too. Tiny bugs with big teeth.
Yeah, I feel every one of them.
feels like needles biting you.
Yeah, there are several too.
No, we have
Several. There's hundreds of them.
That is crazy. Would you mind taking a picture of me in there with them as well? Yeah, you go ahead.
I'll tell you what, after I finish videoing this boat. Wow, that's perfect right there. Look at that.
Is it your angle?
I'm videotaping a boat way out there.
We're just here visiting from Illinois.
See the horizon line?
Uh-huh.
That boat. Do you see it out there in the water?
That's probably a long way out there. Oh, you're getting the one going this way, on the other side of that closer one there.
Yeah, it's way out there.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. It's right behind that.
Yeah, I see the both of them there.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a long fucking way out there.
Hey, I got videos of Saturn.
No shit?
Yeah. 746 million miles on an average. I'm like, that can't be. They lie.
You ain't lying.
They lie, because this ain't the mini Hubble. I call it my mini Hubble, though.
Right.
I call it my mini Hubble. It's compact, it's portable, and you can take it anywhere.
Do you sell these videos and stuff?
No, I put them on YouTube for free.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
even fucking cool.
This is my experiments on the horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because depending on if the sun was out and it was shining bright, you would see a different water line. With all this cloud cover, it's actually allowing me to see much further out.
Okay.
Because the sun blinds you.
Right.
Okay, it's being blinded by the light actually is what you're doing. And it actually create a water line out there that ain't the true water line.
Okay.
You know, I got pictures of boats floating on top of the water or up in the air above this water line.
All right.
And people say it's a mirage. I said no. The mirage, or the mirage, the illusion is where that water line actually is. The water line actually goes much farther back, but It's where the ceiling and the floor meet. Okay, the sky and the water. There's a band out there. See the band just above the water line?
Right.
That band is where they're converging. The sky and the water are compressed right there. So right now with all this overcast, see, I wouldn't be able to really see this boat out there if it was real shiny. If it was real sunny, I wouldn't see this boat.
What is your YouTube channel?
You can look for me on, I got a video out there, it's called Sunset Window into Heaven on YouTube. If you find that, you can, my channel is Wide Awake, and you can look at a bunch of my videos that I got posted. I just started posting videos not too long ago. I'm not great at
Wide Awake, you said?
yeah, I'm not great at editing videos. And I really stink about putting music on some of them. Some of them sound real good, but
just not subscribe to the channel. So.
You got it. That's me.
Shit, I better catch up with these guys. We're here on vacation.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, check out those videos up.
Yeah, I will. Definitely.
Man, this one come out of Hernando Beach and coming right out here in front of Bayport. And I'm gonna be a few pounds less because these bugs are just eating me alive. So he's coming from the south to the north. But he is getting further away. I need people to go on my channel and start looking at the flat earth. My videos will show that right out there is the illusion area, that band above the water. Because when this boat gets out to a certain distance, it'll look like he's going into heaven. I'm in heaven. Heaven's where I wanna be. Looks like there's another boat out there too. Alright, where are you? Okay, there he goes. Yeah. He's getting smaller. He's way out there too. There's a boat coming in. Coming back from heaven. That other boat. It's a littler boat. We're going to keep following this big boat. I really don't like editing my videos. I'd rather just put a couple transitions in my videos and just show you the way I see them. Just the way they're coming off my camera. Oh, go back a little. There we go.
Oh, yes? Go ahead. Go up to the balcony. So right up over there.
I'm going shrimping in heaven.
Oh, okay. I'm going to come in. Yeah, we got room.
That is one fast shrimp boat, though. Yep, we're going to let him come into the screen.
You getting a bit too?
Oh, they're eating me alive, buddy.
What are you doing?
I'm videotaping a boat way out there in the water.
How come?
Well, one day you might find out when the truth hits the fan.
What happened?
Nothing.
I wanted to tell the kid he's been lied to all along, but I don't want to tell him that.
One of the things I want you to pay attention to too is how the ass end of this boat sits down and how its wake is being pushed out from its side. That wake that you normally don't see when the boat is being mirrored, because that water is being mirrored too, you will not see it, but it will block out the lower part of the hull of the boat. And this is where, the deception or the illusion is taking place. And that's why the bottoms ends of the boats get pinched off and make it look like they're appearing to go over a curve. That is an illusion. And I pick out illusions and show people what the illusions are. And sometimes I get discredited for it, and called satanic and whatnot, which, that's these people's belief. If they want to have that belief, they can. But, they ought to stop with the name calling. If they want to consider themselves as religious people and follow in God's name and what the Bible says about not judging people, they would leave me alone and not keep pushing this issue, because I've got tons of observations that I do that have showed me truth. So for you as the viewer, you do not have to take my opinion for it, but I'm going to bring it up to you. Now there's that bird rack. Look how much water is behind that bird rack. And then there's another object there, right there to the left, which I think is a boat even farther out. And then there's one in front of the boat here that you're going to see. That rack right there is 8 miles out. I know it is. A friend of mine told me he can see land from there at night when he's out there doing night fishing. And he knows that rack is 8 miles from shore because he fishes these waters too. He's been fishing them for 20, 25 years himself. And again, here's that other sign that you see. And a lot of times that sign is in the mirror, and it's distorted also. Today this particular day, I had a beautiful day. And I didn't even know what I was capturing until I've done all this analyzing on all my videos, and now I see a lot of things that are making a lot more sense to me. I merely don't want people to believe a word I say. I want people to observe what I've been observing out here on the water for quite some time, and be the judge for yourself of what you're seeing, and take my opinion into consideration and see if it makes sense to you. This is the only way that I can present what I do. I'm not really good at editing. I'm not a computer whiz. I basically know how to convert the video and then upload it to YouTube and then let them do the rest of it pretty much. I don't own photoshopping. The only thing I have in my conversion is saturation, brightness, contrast, hue, which I never use because hue is really nasty. It messes your video completely up. But then I have audio enhance, which I use a lot because all it does is it makes the video a little bit more clear. But when you start getting this grainy effect, that's due to the atmosphere that I'm getting with this, because I don't get it in all my videos when I film the horizon. So I'm just assuming that it was this particular day, and what was in the atmosphere behind it, who knows. But maybe I should have been on manual focus. I know that there's some settings that you can use to cut light, which I've been working on very well with, cutting the light back so I can get good videos of the sun without having to put on a filter. All right, maybe with a filter in that, I could really show something, but then again, you lose a lot of what's around the sun by using a solar filter. You don't really get to see what's actually around it. All right, back to the original audio.
gonna lose them over here on this edge when I get to the tree line. I'm almost there. I have to let him come into the screen. There he comes. Yeah, I don't see no boat out there. Went a little too far. There he goes.
A good channel to watch, or a good video to watch, is one on Curious Life. He has a nice video about angular resolution. Ought to watch it. He gives really good information about how our eyes work, even about how cameras work. All right, so take a look at his video. Take a look at his channel. He brings up some really good subjects, and he's a real good truther. I love his work, and I appreciate the help that he's actually given me with that angular resolution video. It makes a lot of sense if you're a photographer or do videoing, how you know, some far off distant object is really hard for your eye or even your camera to resolve. All right, so take a look at that.
I wonder if I can get him just on the other side, right in that little cubby hole here. Cutting through. There he goes. That's the last one we'll see of him, because we ain't got nothing but trees. Yep. Trees. Oh, might be.
Watch how with me moving the camera around, how the background is all lit up and how the light can blind you right there until I get it right enough to catch the background. Then you can actually see something come through here. All right, I want to bring that to your attention.
We'll wait. See if he goes by. There he goes. That's the last hole I'm gonna peek through. That's hilarious. How it's mirroring the sky. The sky is being mirrored right there. Look at that. You can see it. The mirroring of the sky. Oh, sweet. That is beautiful. That I'm seeing that. Look at that. Mirroring of the sky. The sky and the water.
Now I'm back in my usual place for filming. I'm back over there in the little park area, in a little area cut out to where you can get right down to the water.
Now the camera's real low off the water. The water's creeping up to me here. Tide's coming in. I'm at full zoom. I cannot see none of that out there. The channel markers are nothing I cannot see. And the bugs are eating me alive. Whew. I'm going to go further away from the shoreline here. Can't believe the bugs are this bad.
Alright, I want you to pay attention to a lot of these channel markers too that I show on my channel, like this one. This is over towards Hernando Beach. It's one of their towers with a light on it. And you know, there's some other ones that I'll pick out for you too, that you'll see in the background. And then, you know, like this particular day, I probably could not see the further ones away, because again, that the amount of light refracting off the water, or like I like to say, reflecting off the water, kind of hides that whole horizon in, and also that mirroring. That mirroring is all this combined together, causes this to happen. I mean, even look at this bird. He's right on that edge, and he's mirroring. He's landing in water, and he's flying back up, landing in water, flying back up. He's not on the other side of the curvature of Earth. And that's what people want you to think, that that's the other side of the curve. It's not. See, here's another channel marker that I have in another video that shows it much higher up off the water. So what is it? It's called mirroring. It's not a mirage. That bird rack is not an illusion. It's the water that's the illusion. Okay, in this part of the video, I'm going to show you where this line is. You see this line of water further out, and you see the little slot in between. That right there is another proof that there's water further back there. And that little strip is doing exactly what I say it does. It mirrors the sky. You've seen a little bit of mirroring there, right where the boat's at in that visible water. You can see it in the water. You can see that it's in the water, so you know that that's water back there. You know, I pick out these things that I see, like, you know, right in here too, you got the same effect going on. It's like where the water's meeting the mirror, or there's a mirror in between that bit of water and this other more visible water line. So there is a water line there, and like I say, it goes even further back, but we can't see it due to that amount of light in the mirroring. That mirroring really throws people off. And that's what I try to show people in my videos, that there's more water back there. It's just that we can't see it because of the amount of light. We're blinded by the light, reflecting off the water. That light itself is what keeps you from seeing further back. And just look at my video. I mean, it's showing you that how much brighter that background is and how much whiter it is. And then trying to resolve these items. Now, my camera was playing tricks on me, but I knew what it was that I did. Anytime you're videotaping, you want to make sure if you're on the camera that you put it in the infinity mode. You zoom all the way out, click your button like you're going to take a picture, get the object or whatever you're filming in focus, then hit your record button. Once you do that, you won't have a problem. Well, I was putting it on infinity, but I wasn't doing it the right way. I should have had it in focus when I went out there and did the farthest zoom, but I didn't. So this will help other people use your P900, Nikon Coolpix P900. And that's all I use in my videos, except I might use a phone video, GoPro, you know, to show something else. Sometimes I have to use my phone to show where I'm at and whatnot. All right. Well, you can see when this boat turns away, how he gets a different appearance, and then when he turns back a little bit to the side, you can see the whole boat, and you can see how he's starting to get distorted. And that's another thing, when they get out to that nearing edge out there, they'll start getting distorted looking. Also, you got to take into consideration that this edge right there, I'll show you in another one of my boat videos, where the boat, it just continues to go and go and go, but he stays right on that water line, but at the same time he does nothing but get smaller. Why? Because that little tiny strip that you see right there at the top is probably miles long, but it's, again, it's a deception because of our angular resolution. And our angular capability of seeing farther out into the horizon. We can't. Our eyes just cannot resolve that edge. Now I refocused my camera here, so I got it back in focus, but I still don't think I solved the problem. I think when I zoom back in and then zoom back out, I lose my focus again. And again, that's because I wasn't setting the camera properly. I may have on this part. I'm not sure, but just most of my videos, man, you can watch and observe, and then you ask yourself the question. Look at the size of the boat, the size of the people on the boat. Look at the horizon line edge and see how it gets whited out. And that's the terminology I'd like to use for it. It's just whited out. You ever see a movie where a man walks into a doorway that's real brightly lit on the other side of the door, and he walks in and he kind of disappears into the light? Well, that's pretty much what happens out here past this visible water line. Things start to disappear at a certain point, and this mirroring occurs, and this mirroring is an illusion that really messes with one's mind, because people want to just say it's a mirage, but it's a mirroring of the boat. The boat's there. The mirage or the mirroring is directly underneath the boat. Like, look at this boat coming in, bounce, bounce, bounce. You can see that he's in the water, and he ain't being you know, popped up on the other side of the curve, because I'd have to ask you, when does the real boat occur? When I follow these boats, not only going out but coming in to that water plane. Are they a mirage? When do they turn into a real boat? You don't see them pop up from nowhere. You just see them riding on the invisible water. And if you watch in my videos, you'll see that water. You will see it. Just like I say, observe and watch it a couple of times, and you'll see things in the background that will make you question your popular belief. Okay, this is a picture that I took when I took my boat out here. I drove out there to this channel marker, this bird rack, so I could give you a picture firsthand. I did take some video too, so I'll present that right along with this video. All right, so be patient. It will come up in the video where I actually take a ride out there and film this bird rack also, and took a couple of pictures. All right, I hope you like it. All right, what I'd like you to do too is always remember, just try to remember the size of the people on the boat, the size of the boat and whatnot. It helps you understand what I show in my videos, because normally you would not see this boat. Really, you might see what looks like a mirage out there, but when that mirroring is occurring, I wouldn't be able to see this boat. Like I said, he would be either distorted really bad, or maybe I'd just see the top of his head sticking up above what looked like the water line, or above that water line, and it would be in the mirror, but you would see also his reflection of just the top of his head reflecting the down in the bottom underneath him. And this you'll see in some of my videos. So I got a lot of really good observations that I do, that I've kept for myself, and I have not shared with everybody, only because I use them to do, I find my own truth with what I see. And I don't have to post all of my videos, but maybe I should start posting more of them instead of keeping them personal to me. But I film so much that I wind up making these long videos, and people don't want to watch the long videos. I guess they want the short, sweet, mysterious, videos that really are highly edited and whatnot. All right, I'm gonna let it get back to the original audio again. right, watch this boat. Whoa, look at the boat further behind it. All right, now keep an eye on that. Now take into consideration the angle that I'm at. See how the waves are blocking out the bottom? It's not that it's getting hid by the curvature. It's getting hidden by the angle that I'm at. And my camera is having a hard time resolving that edge. But there you go. There it is. You can see that boat is in the water, and you can see the whole boat, except for it's a very, very small boat. And like I say, those waves are blocking it out due to the angle that I'm at filming it. All right, so that top of that water is very, very thin right now. I'm trying to come up with a way to show you how to show a flat surface, and I will. I have a way to do it. I just gotta see if I can find it in my files and maybe even add it to this video. All right, so just keep watching. It's pretty interesting stuff.
Very cool. Good luck.
Thank you. And even look at that boat. Holy smokes.
Another guy that brings some good work to the table is Rob Shakiba. He brings a lot of good videos where they give you proof He's using their science against them.
Yeah,
I'm
where's he
using
going here?
visual observation against them. Um, so, again, check Rob Shakib out. He's done some terrific work in this field. So let's give him a good looking at. Just observe and learn. That's all I can ask you to do. Watch the video. It's not lying to you, and it's definitely not CGI. I'm usually talking in a lot of my videos, but this day I was actually so amazed. I was pretty quiet to myself, seeing what I was seeing. Um, and somebody wants to say that it's an inversion or it's a mirage. No, it ain't. There's water back there, and it's due to that angular resolution that I'm at. It's like trying to resolve the edge of a razor blade at 5 miles away. It's you just can't do it. But here I am doing it. So, good observations go a long way in my book. And after doing many of these, like I said, and analyzing them, I realized that I've got some really good footage, a lot more than I thought. the light is slowly engulfing the boat. It's slowly vanishing it. It's, again, like a guy walking into that lit up doorway and vanishes into the light. Same principle.
Guy in the skidoo is way bigger than the boat. Tells you how far that boat is away. And it's not flying in the air, it's on water. The water's just mirroring the sky. boat's going farther away from us. That's why it's just turning into the blob. And here comes a bigger boat, gonna run it over. Look out! Crush. You can hear the water creeping up on me. So that boat's just getting farther and farther away. I love it when the skidoo goes by. Shows you how far away that boat is.
So that little strip of area right there from the visible water plane to that boat, how many miles is that? Just in that little bitty strip that you really can't see. You know, people want to say that that's a mirage, and I say no, that's a boat, but it's just being distorted and it's vanishing into the light.
"53 seconds, something like that left." It's getting hidden in the glare. The glare of the sun. That boat's coming out of Hernando Beach. He's turning away from me. The other boat out there too. Or is that a jet ski? Jet ski. might have to refocus it. We're alright. Oh, even if I go back a little bit, it just look like a couple of little stones out there. Gone. Hello? I can't see these boats with my naked eye, that's for sure. Hey, what happened? Oh. So if that boat ain't shrunk, what is it? It's not a mirage. Look at the duck head, just as big as the damn people on the boat. That's stuffy. Being out here in the salty water, breathing all these damn no-see-em bugs, eating me up. Like I say, my camera is not very far off the ground. Take another picture of it.
Here's one of the pictures of how high I had my camera set up on the beach that day. So I went back in here, found the date and time, and put it on there. All right. So there's how high my camera was.
It's even a boat further out there. Look at that. Look at that.
This is how I see the waves are blocking out the boat more than anything else. It's this wave action that blocks you out from seeing the lower ends of the boat because due to the angle that I'm filming. So I'm catching those waves that are toppling over him. It's like the pinch right there. You cannot see it because of those waves, and also that mirroring effect that is actually happening behind the boat more than it is in front of it. Of course, we can't see it, but that is my outlook, is that that's what's hiding the boat, is these waves. I've said it all along. When you go out in the ocean and you're out there and there's big swells, one minute you'll see a boat, the next minute you won't. Even in smaller waves, one minute you'll see the boat, next minute you won't. If a person's on the beach and there's waves coming up, if you're at a certain angle, one minute you'll see them, the next minute you won't. Why? Because the waves block them out.
Look how the waves, it's the waves that are blocking out the bottom of that boat. Because my camera's so low to the ground. Those waves further out there will block you out. To be honest with you, I shouldn't even see that boat. Look at there. See how much closer? Look at that one, so much closer. I'm gonna have to pack up and leave for a little bit because I gotta go to the bathroom. We'll have to follow him.
Okay, this is from my last sun video, but I want to use it to bring a couple of things into mind. Think about what you see right here. It looks like a very, very wide train track, say. Okay, and it's going out to the point where the light is, just like a pyramid would. But you won't see it until a little bit later on in this video, and I'm going to point it out. But I did this video just mainly for the pure beauty of it. You know, it was a beautiful sunset this particular day. And I do always like it when there's clouds on the horizon, because the sun lights them up. Its light bleeds through the clouds. And I have plenty of video where I zoom in on the sun when it's behind the clouds. And this is, you know, another one of my responses to Awake Souls and his deceiving gang of clowns. That's what I'm going to call them, because that's what I think they are. But they're wasting my time, you know, responding to their insults, their stupidity. If you honestly cannot see that these clouds are going to be well in front of the sun, I mean well in front of the sun, and the sun is just getting farther and farther from us, while it is actually it does get smaller. It's just so minute that people don't realize it, and then you know, you have the atmospheric lensing that can happen, that can cause the sun to appear bigger on the horizon than it does directly overhead. Why? Because it's being filtered through all that atmosphere out there, just like right now as it's going behind these clouds. Okay, all that light is bleeding through the clouds and lighting the clouds up. Okay, just like taking a you know, flashlight and holding it behind a piece of paper, you know, lights the paper up, because its light spreads out across the back of it. And depending on how close you hold that flashlight up to that piece of paper is going to be depending on how much definition you can get through it, plus also how thick all of those little pieces of papers are. So you'll get different appearance. Now right here, I'm going to slow it down. I got it on, I do believe, 25%, and I wanted to make it slow so you can watch the road that's being built by the light of the sun and its reflection off the water. Now, my opinion is not always the same as everybody else's opinion, but when we get this reflection and this mirroring, this is where I say a lot of the magic happens, because first of all, what is the sun reflecting off of? It's reflecting off of water. And as you watch this, that reflection will eventually work its way right to the sun itself. So right where you see them meet is the true horizon line. That's where the sun is actually shining down on its own hot spot. Okay, put it to you that way. That's another way to look at it. So as it does, they will appear to meet, this reflection and the sun itself. Okay, I'm waiting for it to meet. I got this probably a little too slow, but that's okay, because I want you to watch this road grow, and it actually takes the shape of a pyramid. You know how you see the all-seeing eye on top of the pyramid? Well, that's what you'll see here in just a second when it reaches up to its own reflection. Okay? And I'm going to say when. And you see it rising up. You see it rising up. See it rising up. And here's where they're going to start meeting. Right here. And that's like the tunnel of truth. Okay, that's the tunnel of truth. You can see right there is the original, or the actual natural horizon line is right where they meet. And it's like a tunnel where the floor and the sky are meeting, but they're only appearing to meet because that is an illusion. Now I sped this back up to its normal speed, I believe. Hang on, and I'll check. Yes, it's at normal speed. And well, this is how I see it. It's like dragging a light, on the ground, and in a puddle of water, and actually eventually they'll both just disappear due to the vanishing point. No matter how big that light source is, it will eventually disappear. It doesn't matter how big the light source is, because when it gets right here where it starts leveling itself out, and you see it on each side of it, still got that little nook in there. That's where the original horizon line is. Keep in mind. Like I said, you don't have to believe me. This is just my opinion of it. I don't ask anybody to believe me. If you agree with me, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Doesn't matter what you call me either, because I'm going to see it the way I see it. And I'm going to call it the way I see it. So again, right here, it looks like it's getting cut off, but you see that it's still got that reflection, but it's still getting smaller. Okay, the sun is still getting smaller, but those edges right there are still above the water. So it's just getting smaller and smaller and smaller in its own reflection, but it gives you the appearance of going over a curve, going on the other side. But it's just going to the vanishing point. Now here's where the magic starts. It starts to look like a football, because those edges are where the real horizon line is. And all you're seeing is that sun getting smaller and smaller and smaller within its own reflection. Now, right in here, I'm going to actually put it back to slow motion and give you a look at it in real slow motion. Okay, this is, I slowed it down 0.25 times. Give you an idea of what, a light would look like vanishing out, because it's going to the vanishing point. It's getting out of your vision. You can no longer see it. Okay, due to all the atmosphere in the way and everything, you cannot see it no longer. There's going to be a point where we're blocked out by all the fog, the atmosphere, the clouds. Everything's going to eventually block it out. And that's exactly what it's doing right here. And then you get the green flash in there. And right there is the vanishing point. That's when it gets beyond our vision. And you cannot no longer see it. So that's my outlook on it. And that's my opinion. You can agree with me or disagree with me. That's fine. I have no problem with people disagreeing with what I'm seeing. And then this is just the rest of the video, where I zoom back away and show you how dark I had my camera settings. Now, if I'm right about this miraging and this mirroring, also look at these clouds where they're mirroring themselves out there on the horizon. Okay, that is a mirror image of them being reflected back down toward the water. Again, there's water out there, but that little strip right there between the visible water line and where you see the clouds are reflecting, that's the horizon line. So how many miles is between the visible water line, and split that in two? I can't say it's 1 or 2 inches because who knows what size screen you're looking at. So, I have to rely on your own eyes to see where those clouds and the reflection of the clouds are joining. So this is one of the ways that I look at it. So that, again, I call that the tunnel of truth. You can see where the clouds are meeting the water and given its reflection. So there's a long distance in between that, and I think it's hundreds of miles and not just a couple of miles. I think those clouds are out there hundreds and hundreds of miles. So that little strip that I'll show you in another video, that's just at the top of the edge of the water, the visible water, is miles long too, and I'll prove that to you in a coming up video here. Gonna be still going on. I got a lot of time on this one. I don't like making my observations this long, but I got to show you all the footage that I got and show you all the evidence that I have. Maybe you'll understand what I've got. And understand how our vision works.
Mirror, mirror on the water. horizon line. Mirror, mirror on the water. It's alright, you can talk. I can delete the recording. The sound is nothing.
Are you doing like a time-lapse?
No, I'm actually doing video. I'm zoomed in out there on those clouds.
What's anything special about the clouds?
Well,
It's just
you see the clouds
light?
mirroring themselves on the water underneath? See underneath there? The clouds mirroring? See
The light? The
yeah,
lighter part?
the clouds are mirroring. This part down here is mirroring the topper part.
Yeah.
Another cloud right over here a minute ago. That little cloud right there is mirrored at the bottom a minute ago. They're moving away, so. Now can you see a little better there, the mirroring?
Are you saying off the edge? On the horizon?
Yeah, that's actually water behind that. Behind the water. It's just mirroring the sky.
I'm trying to imagine.
Yeah, it's just mirroring the sky. Water mirrors it. And after you get past that visible water line, there's actually more water behind it.
That is so cool.
I track boats out there, and a lot of times when I track a boat, it actually go above this water line. And people immediately said, oh, well, that's a mirage. But it looks like it's flying in the air, but it's not, because I follow the boat from right here all the way out. And it just appears to be floating in the air. But there's literally water back there that just starts mirroring the sky. And this is why I do these observational videos.
That's really cool.
Yeah, this thing's got like 83 times zoom. I mean, weigh in on it.
Yeah, that's impressive.
But you know, I do these for people to see the actual mirroring. You can see it. Right here is where the actual horizon line is. The true horizon line is.
Up there?
Yeah, it's above the water.
I see the mirroring!
Now you see it, don't you?
Yes!
It takes a little bit to actually, you know, catch it, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's
like
perspective.
Up here.
Yes.
And then it inverts.
Yep.
And then it's the real thing.
Yep. Yep. What's on top is the real clouds. What's on the bottom is the mirroring.
So I see the mirroring here, but what about up there?
What do you mean?
Oh, snap. I think I see it. So you see that boat out there? Or whatever it is?
That's,
You see it? That
rocks.
thing? Oh.
It's real low tide,
like
and there's a lot of rocks out there. There's actually a boat, I think, over there. That, I mean, it could be a rock too, but
Look, what is that? That's an alligator.
no, it's manatee.
It's a manatee?
Yep, that's a manatee.
What is that thing?
It's just. Oh, wait a minute. That might be an otter.
Oh.
That might be an otter. You gotta watch out for those. Little bastards are mean. They can be mean.
Do alligators come out here?
Maybe now and then, but I don't. As long as nobody's feeding them, they'll run away. They'll stay away.
Anyway, so where those rocks are, is the reflection
There was
right above them?
There actually was a reflection below them earlier.
This is where the clouds are?
Yeah.
So the reflection relative to them, it's like, is it up here?
No, it's actually, the reflection will be under the rocks.
I mean the water.
The water is up higher, yeah. Because you can look here where the clouds, see here, you can see the clouds here reflecting these clouds.
Yeah.
But you're only going to get so much because of the angle of those clouds. It's really, you do have to look at it with perspective, and not so much as the illusion is where you think that there's no water. That's actually an illusion. There is water there.
Yeah.
Because what's reflecting the clouds? The water.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to do the boats when I catch boats out there. It's pretty wild.
It's like way up there.
Sometimes I can show people what's this right here?
That one?
That's a boat. That's a boat out there. Yep, that's a boat. And he looks like he's floating. And it's just distorted because of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is distorting the boat. Like I can usually just, right here's a, oh, pass a little bit. It's hard to see it. Yeah, it's hard to see that part. That's why I like catching the clouds right there, like where the sun's at. It's pretty cool. There's a marker out here. There's a bird rack out at the end here. Let me see if I can find the bird rack. See the reflection under the bird rack. Right here is about where the bird rack ends, right. And then it's all reflection underneath it. Yeah. You can even see this marker on the side of it reflecting underneath. Yeah. And that bird rack, you can that marker, you can just barely see the top of it. Yeah. Right here. So actually the water line right there is right there. And this is why I do observations. It's pretty neat when you find stuff out there, and people will say, "Oh, that's a mirage." No, it ain't. Like that's a tree that's been out there for a long time, since one of the storms. Yeah, it's been out there for a while. See that little cloud right here?
Yes.
It's going to disappear.
Crazy.
It's vanishing. Yeah, I get stuff that's on the vanishing point. Well, here's a good one. You see that sign there, and you start seeing the sign underneath it.
Gosh, and people believe in ghosts.
Yeah, that's. I get a lot of. I posted some of these on YouTube, and people say, "Oh, that's a mirage." I said, "Well, I said, when did it mysteriously turn into a mirage? At what point, as I'm following it, does it turn into a mirage? Does it just, just all of a sudden turn into a mirage, or when does it? And they can't answer that question.
Simple science.
Yeah. And this is true science. Observational science is better than the lies that I think we were taught when we were in school. Now I can go out here and find these markers over here on this side, on this far side. Let's see if I can get
Oh, I see some of them. Those really far ones?
Yeah.
There's like a light on the top?
Yeah, I can zoom out to those. See if I can find anything else. Well, see here's a marker that's actually in the water, and you can see it. Now some days
I don't see it.
Well, this post right here, and you can actually see the barnacles and whatnot at the bottom of the pole, and you don't get no mirroring off of that because it's in the water, in the visible water line. I call that the visible water line. And then you have, see, those are rocks, and see how they look like they're in the air?
Yeah.
But they're not. They're in the water. I mean, you know, how easy is that to say that these rocks are not sticking up out of the air, and they're not an illusion.
Yeah.
Those are rocks. Simple. But I'll have people say, oh, those are mirages. I'm like, how can a rock be a mirage? You know, it's sticking up out of the water. Well, it's not in the water, it's in the air. I said, no, it's in the water. Yeah. So,
people on YouTube are just crazy sometimes. They just do it to be annoying.
Yeah, they do. And sometimes it is annoying. Now, here's a boat, I think, right here. Yeah, these are people fishing in a boat. You can see them standing in there.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you can actually...
I'm coming back.
Can you see it mirroring? The mirroring underneath it?
Yeah, I see the pole
and
the people.
Right. Now, if that wasn't...
Oh, yeah, now it's moving.
Yeah, and if that wasn't water, you wouldn't see the mirroring under it.
Right, exactly. That's good.
Yeah, this camera is excellent.
I don't even see them. Oh, you see that spot right there? Is that them?
Yeah, that was what we were looking at. And I'm fixing to go over here by this light. I'll catch this light here, right there.
Yeah.
See the double light?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's mirroring underneath it, and it's mirroring off the water.
Yeah.
Some days, I mean, I actually got video where the water goes right up to it. On days where you got good visibility, you will actually see the water right up to the edge of that. So I have proof that that is water by just showing another video with this video.
Right.
And say, hey, why is some days I can see this sitting in the water, and then some days it's mirroring. So it's interesting stuff.
It is. Well, thanks for teaching me.
Yeah.
It's really nice to meet you. Enjoy.
Well, you know, take this into consideration.
Yeah,
Why do they call it sea level? Water always finds its own level, right?
Yeah.
So is it because of perspective we don't see boats going out there because it just gets so small we can't see it? Or is there a curve out there that comes down? But it's level. Is there a big hump out there in the water?
Well, I mean, astronomy.
If you go by what we were taught, that we live on a globe, there's got to be this big hump out there. But if there's a hump 3 miles out, then we ought to see a hump this way too. And you don't. You never see a hump left or right, but 3 miles out, they're supposed to go over the surface of the earth. And that bird rack out there, that's 4 miles.
What?
Yeah, that's 4 miles out. Yeah, they say a man standing 6 foot tall can only see 3-point-some miles out. I get this bird rack out there almost all the time, and that's 4 miles, so I shouldn't see it by science.
Right.
Science says it should be already over the curve. So that's what's interesting about observation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man.
Sure.
Have a good one.
You too. Oh, look at this too. We got some crepuscular rays coming up. Let's see if I can catch those. Yeah, there's one right there. Crepuscular rays. people stuff. When they ask, ye shall learn. What I see. %. 1%.
I went to my phone app and I checked on it, and it said it was a 1% moon. So that's where I got the 1% from. Just so if you wanted to know, that's what it said on the app. So whether it was 100% correct or not, I ain't the one that said it.
You like those apples? Oh my goodness, look at this. Yeah, look at this sky. It's awesome. Oh man.
This is one of the things that I love about what I do, getting out here and filming and showing people that don't get to see this kind of sight, the beauty of it. It is awful beautiful, man, when you look. But also you got to observe and learn. Look at all the clouds that was on the horizon that we didn't see. It's a buildup of clouds because we're looking at all these clouds from an angle. So, we're getting a big, thick layer of water, actually. Clouds are water, so you got to think about water filtering out the light from the sun. At a certain distance, you're not going to see that light. Go to the bottom of the ocean, you don't see the light. So again, what are we seeing right here? We're seeing the light from the sun cast its rays upward, but not really so much upward, directly out from it. It appears to be going upward, but it's actually coming right at you over the top of the clouds. And that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm catching. So I thought it was interesting. And that's why I try to show these. And I do have the camera in manual focus.
It's a 1% moon. fishing in their boat.
I did turn up the brightness in here to 10, gave it 10% more light.
Beautiful. Watch when I get out of focus. Look familiar? Look familiar? Or the opposite way. Look familiar? Look familiar? Out of focus light. bird rack. Out of focus. Get it in focus. Okay. Now go under focus. Look familiar? We're going for the moon. We're gonna go do the moon. Get it in focus here. Do a time lapse.
Okay, this first time lapse here, I do believe it was a 10-second, 10-minute cityscape one. Same way with the next ones after this, but this was a little higher in the sky. Well, it didn't look like it from where I was standing, but you know, when you zoom in on it, it is much higher in the horizon because that horizon line is what I call a compressed horizon. If you can understand compression and how you smash things together, which that's another little experiment I'll try to present to you. I did move the camera a couple times just so I could keep it in frame. I wanted to try to use the whole 10 minutes of it. And as you notice, as it gets down into this area where all the clouds are, how it starts to turn reddish. And that shows you that the sky is actually filtering out the moon, and it is the moon that is actually behind the clouds, not vice versa. Now the next one, I did cut the light back a little bit. It'll be right here. I didn't cut the light. I pulled back further away from it. Thought I'd get the horizon line in there, but then I did a boo-boo. I wanted to zoom in closer on it, you know, before it got to that horizon line. So I only wound up getting like 2 seconds of it, which wasn't much. Well, 2 seconds of time lapse is like 4 minutes altogether, or 2 minutes actually altogether. No, 4 minutes. No, 2 minutes. It's just 2 minutes. But anyhow, I messed that up, because right here is where it starts getting into that lower atmosphere, and then here's where it hits the water and reflects into the water and does this little snake thing right up to where it goes to that vanishing point too itself, the light. I put the same video in again and just gave it a little more light so you could see where that visible water line was in the screen, because you couldn't see it on the other one. Yeah, this next one was just a long video that I did and then sped it up to show you that horizon line receding down until it's dark, and you can also see the stars, of course, coming out, which is very interesting. But you know, this is what we need, is more observations like this to show people really how the world is working, and how the sun can actually be circling the earth and not just going into some hole somewhere a couple miles away, or whatever people are claiming. Even if it's 1,000 miles away, then, you know, I think it would be, I think we'd know it for some reason. I mean, Enoch's portals and stuff, it could be just portals in the sky, sectors that it goes through on its circle. You know, 12 in the east and 12 in the west would be almost like a clock having, you know, 12 hours on it, but theirs would be a 2-hour portal. Every 2 hours it goes through a different portal. So, you know, look at it however you want, but again, you know, I don't expect nobody to believe what I say. I just think for myself and do my own critical thinking, and whether people agree with me, that's up to them, and if they don't, that's up to them, and no hard feelings. We all have our own opinions. Now here is another bit of proof I put out there. You know, when I put out proof like this about how the refraction, you know, is a reflection of the sunlight off the water, you know, people don't take that into consideration. But this boat is an awful long ways away from me, and I had another day here where I had excellent visibility, and I was able to see for miles and miles and miles. That bird rack at the end of Bayport, I finally did some research and found that it's 4 miles away, and if I could figure out how to use Google Earth and get it to record a video that I can track down and find. I think I did one, but I lost it in the files, and I'm not really keen about you know, using other programs, or, you know, like Google Earth. I'm not too good at trying to get that, but, you know, you can also see all of these channel markers more or less in the water and not floating above the water. Again, you know, cutting that light in your camera does make a big difference on these particular type of days. I think if I would have let more light in, you would have seen how bright that horizon line actually is, and how things could actually disappear into that light. But you can still see the light beyond this boat. But one of the things I want you to do is take into consideration the whole time that you watch this boat, how big the boat is. Okay, I'm going to pick one out here in the distance, and you need to realize that it's going to ride on this same water line, and it's just going to continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So what should that tell you? How many miles is in that little sliver of water right there above up to that point where it looks like the water ends. How much water is there? I'm saying that it's miles and miles and miles and miles long, because these boats go, 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 and all the boat does is get smaller, but that horizon line never leaves. It stays the same. So think about that when you're watching this.
Let's follow a couple of these boats here. I don't know what that is way out there, but that's some marker or another boat way the hell out there. See it? He's about ready to run it over right there.
Normally, on a normal day where all that mirroring is, I don't see any of this
And the
stuff
bugs
out
are
on the
biting.
horizon. So, take that also into consideration as I post more of my videos. You'll wonder where these little items are. That's why I say pay close attention to detail in these, because you'll see some things that you will not see in some of the other videos I put out due to that mirroring and the brightness of the sun reflecting off the water.
Are you videoing the sunset?
I will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little ways off yet. I think it's
There's usually some dolphins. My daughter just got married down here last week, and there was dolphins right here.
I videotaped dolphins right out here.
Yep.
Yeah. They came out here. I was out here last Friday, and they swam right up here by the edge.
Actually, she got married on Thursday.
Out here?
Right
Oh,
there
that
between the trees. Yeah.
that was nice. That ought to have been nice.
Right at sunset.
That made for some nice pictures, I'm sure.
You know what? It got so crazy. Other than when they got married, we didn't even stop and take pictures. And then I did my other daughter's maternity pictures out here. Those turned out really nice. The tide was out, so she was able to get out into the water a little bit. Beautiful.
Yeah, I like it when I can take my camera further out.
Are you taking still shots or video?
I'm doing videos right now. Yeah, I'm watching them boats way out there. I'm following them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I you know how they say a boat goes over the curvature of Earth?
Yeah.
It's a myth.
A myth?
It's a lie from science. Science lies about that.
Where do you see a boat at?
Out there on the horizon. This camera's got 83 times zoom.
Oh.
So I follow them until they get so small they disappear. They never go over the curve. And they say there's a curve out there. And science says it's 8 inches per mile squared is the measurement for the curvature of Earth. Well, I know I'm zooming out 10 miles at least, so how can I be zooming out 10 miles if there's a curve out there? Most of the time when I'm filming these boats, I get them where they look like they're floating in the air. But that's only because of what we call mirroring. It's a refraction.
There's something swimming right there. Is that the dolphin?
But I found out how to cut the light to where I don't get all of that refraction, and I actually catch the boat sitting in the water and not floating above the water. What's that? Yeah. Sure. You can. I'm not even sure which boat it is out there. I'm zoomed in on because it's so far out. But there's there's a bird rack out there. Well, there's a bird rack out there from Bayport, and that's approximately 4 miles out. And science says a man standing 6 foot tall can only see 3 miles out in the horizon. Well, here I'm videotaping stuff that's well further than 3 miles out. And there's that boat.
Oh, wow. The waves get bigger out there?
Yeah, actually they are, but you don't really see it as much with your eyes as you do with the camera. And science says, you know, the boat will sink, its hull will go underneath the curvature of Earth as the boat gets out, but I find that it's actually because of my angular resolution, it's my angle that's causing these waves to block out the boat instead of the curvature of Earth.
That's cool, because you can't see them from the eye, can you?
Mm-mm. If I raise my camera up, you really get to see a little better, too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I get them to where they go to the what I call a vanishing point, never over the curve. The only one I ever got.
Oh, you do get them where they vanish out of your camera?
Yep, and never go over any curvature. I mean, you'll see it. He'll almost blend into the water before you actually see him go over any curvature. And I do this as a kind of for science.
Yeah.
It's personal observations.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, most of science, you got to believe it, right?
That's right. Gotta believe it. Well, some of it.
Yep, that's right. Some of it you have to believe in, because there's really no actual proof of what they say. Like they teach us all that the Big Bang, the Big Bang Theory, that we all came from nothing. Yeah, we all come from nothing. Then we are nothing. Shit. Now you'll be able to see something here. Yep, here it is. Here's my bird rack. Obviously sitting in the water. So this is not a fluke. I don't know with these settings if I'll get the rays of the sun. Where did my boat go? Huh. There he is. You know, boat's way out there. a couple more minutes on them.
Hey, where's a good place to watch the sunset where we can actually sit down?
I think you can see it from up there. There's benches up
This
there.
is in Pine Island, right?
No, this is Bayport.
Which one's Pine Island? That one over there?
It's on the other side of those little islands. My tripod's getting in the water. Bam. And the bugs are eating. I want to catch these rays. A couple more minutes here. Boat's just blending in here soon. Okay, I got to change my camera settings, that's for sure, in order to catch these rays.
Now I know that this was footage from previous video that I did, but I thought it was important to show it. That's why I put it on here. Because now, I mean, this boat gets to the size to where the camera cannot resolve it. But if you noticed how that boat stayed on that same horizon line and just got smaller and smaller and smaller, you would realize that there's more to that horizon line than meets the eye. In other words, there's miles and miles within that little strip above that water line. So then it makes me question whether or not there's actually more water beyond it, which I'm sure there is, but it's at such an angle that we can't resolve it. And it too also mirrors the sky. So our horizon line is going to go to eye level depending on what your height is. So no matter if you're standing on a mountain or standing at the edge of the beach, your horizon line will be at eye level. Again, here's some footage that I did that shows this sign out there, and I want you to pay attention to that sign. I catch it when it's up in the air on certain days, where today you can actually see it literally in the water. So that's another thing that I'd like you to keep an eye on, is some of these signs and markers that I look at and show you with my videos. And I try to film from the same spot every time, so people get familiar with the location and all these markers and signs and bird racks out in the horizon. So I leave it up to you as the viewer to make up your mind, and I'm just giving you my opinion of what I see. So take it or leave it. So again, here's some more of the same footage that I did on my crepuscular rays video, where you could see the sun's light rays coming out from behind the clouds. And you'll see that almost as far as the eye can see. So I present this stuff, like I said, not for you to believe me, but for you to observe for yourself what you see. And I look at it like, you know, we are the bugs on the ground looking across a flat surface, and what we will see is we'll see more of the sky, and that's why it forms this dome appearance over our heads. But if we was to go out to that horizon as far out as we can see, and stop and look, it's still sea level, and you're just going to go out and see the same thing over and over and over until you get to Mexico. But it's always going to be that flat horizon line that you will see. You will never see it curve down or curve up, and that's, again, that's my opinion. I also do take into consideration tides and the way the Gulf Stream fills the Gulf of Mexico up. There could be a little concavity to the water. You have to look at that as an aspect, because water is always moving. We always got low tides, high tides. Where it's high tide somewhere, it's low tide somewhere else. So it's like water sloshing around in a pie pan, you know, very slowly and gradually. But I'm going to let it get back to the original audio. Right after this little segment here, I did speed this up, I think, or no, I left it the same. I think I was going to speed it up, but one of the things I did want to say is remember that sign right there. It might be hard to depict out of some of my other videos, but you will see it in other videos of mine. All right, so now I'll go back to another sunset and regular audio. Alright, this was another video where I cut that light way back on the camera. The light settings within the settings of the camera. This is not done through my conversion program. So that has not been manipulated. The only thing I did to this was auto enhance it.
20 minutes. See that other hot spot out there.
Now think about what you would see if you were above the clouds looking back down in a high altitude balloon. You would see a hot spot on the top of the clouds, showing that the sun is above the clouds, not within the clouds. So this sun behind the clouds bull crap has got to end, because you can't go fooling everybody like you do, Mr. Awake Souls. Watch some real good observations and you'll see things that you never got to see before. Now what I'd like you to do is look at how much water is actually behind this bird rack. And you can obviously see that pole in the water. And again, my video is coming up that's going to show you that when I drove out there. I'm going to show you a real video of that bird rack.
The little knob on the top moves back and forth. There's a little. Oh yeah. Okay. Right there somewhere. Oh, hold it back there. Wait. Come on, hurry up.
I thought you were gonna go take a picture. The belly. I know he's gonna make you do the whole thing.
Oh, Audrey's.
Come out from behind the tree. Go a little that way. Go a little that way.
Oh. A little more to the left. What kind of camera you got there?
It's a Nikon Coolpix P900.
Nice.
Yeah, it's got 83 times zoom.
Oh.
So, I mean, I can go out here on this horizon
Oh, beautiful.
and pick up stuff way out.
Wow.
That's the bird rack at the end of Bayport.
Wow.
That's that little tiny dot you see.
Yeah, way the hell out there?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
What is this? Nikon what?
Coolpix
I'm
P.
sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you knocked me way off course there.
I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
Screwed you up.
That's okay. I can. This might have threw me out of level. I had a pretty level. Yeah. Out of level. There we go.
What's all this stuff?
This is just a remote I got so I can move the camera without having to
actually physically move it.
Yeah, like, you know, like if you're gonna take pictures, you can aim it, and I have a remote too that I can push. And
Do you
and
sell your photographs, or
No,
just a hobby for yourself?
Yeah, I post some of them on
Yeah.
YouTube, but I'm a flat earther. Because some of this stuff that you zoom out to,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be already over the curvature of Earth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
What is it? 30 miles? What is it?
No, they say a man 6 foot tall can only see 3 miles out on the horizon.
Really? That's all? I thought it was more than that for
No.
some reason.
No, that's what
I
science
thought it was
says.
a 30-mile view or
8
25-mile view. Or
8 inches per mile squared is the going average for measuring the curvature of Earth. I see stuff. I mean, I can point out some stuff out here just to the right of that bird rack. Let me see if I can zoom in on it for you.
Now, how come you're getting like the orangey here when it's not the real?
Well, because I've got.
Is that a filter or something?
I've got my camera set to cut out a lot of the mirroring. Otherwise, when I zoom out here to this horizon like this, what I get is actually makes the boats look like they're floating in the air.
Oh.
Oh wow, I'm way off here. I got to go back this way to find that bird rack here. Okay. You see?
Oh, okay.
See this object?
Yep.
See that object?
Little dot way the hell out there?
No, that's even one further. It's one you can't even see. Here's the one to the. Here's the bird rack.
Well, I see two out there. I see one a little bit to the right, and then another one off to the left there.
Okay, see
right?
that?
Wow.
That is the one that you're looking at. That's the little dot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then to the right of that, there's a sign. Let me show you the sign, because that's what you're seeing. To the right of that is that sign.
Wow, that's crazy.
But right here, there's two objects out here, right here and right here, that are. This one's at least 8 miles, and that one's got to be at least 20.
Now, I just saw some birds fly by. I wonder how far those were out there. They were probably out there a ways.
I've actually caught fish jumping way out in the distance.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it's funny because you're looking at it and you see this fish jump, and it's just this tiny little fish, you know, but you can tell it's a mullet.
Sure.
You know, so, you know, I do observational videos to prove things to myself, not to other people.
Yep.
Hey, they can take it or leave it, what I see.
Sure.
But, you know,
that's a neat rig. That's pretty cool.
I ask you one thing. Does our government lie to us?
Oh, sure.
Well, who do you think pays most of these people? You know, these theoretical physicists, these theoretical scientists. And they come up with a Big Bang theory. Now, really, come on. Do we really know that this little dot of all this matter was in this tiny dot the size of a pinhead, exploded and created everything? And they want us to believe that.
Yeah.
And hey, if you don't believe it, man, you don't know what you're talking about, because we're smarter than you, and we know that we evolved from a monkey, or we evolved from a single cell amoeba. It took billions of years for us to turn into monkeys, and then billions of years for us to turn into a man. Bite me. That's what I say to science. I mean, hey, there's good science, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely science we can rely on, but there's a lot of science out there I don't believe in. That's one of them. Look at that boat. Oh, another boat. Y'all ain't getting eaten by bugs?
Yeah, we are.
At least you got more clothes on. These socks just ain't doing the trick. Wow, look at that boat.
All right, that second mark out there, that may not be 20 miles away, but I know the other marker is 8 miles away. That's called the North Rack, and a friend of mine just let me know that it is actually 8 miles away. I think I brought that up earlier. He fishes these areas a lot, and he pretty much knows the distance to a lot of this stuff. Now, that little marker that I see out there, I don't know how far that is away or what actually it is, and there's a couple of them. So, um, and the boats, it's hard to determine how far away they are, but I guarantee you that they're more than 4 miles away. And I'm seeing them perfectly fine sitting in the water with these settings. Plus, too, the good visibility of this day also helps with being able to film this edge and get a fairly good resolution.
Way out there at the horizon? Really? Ooh.
Normally, what you'd see is probably just the mast of this boat sticking up, and you probably wouldn't even see the other boat beyond it. With all the mirroring and the lighting that goes on out there, and the visibility, I wouldn't be able to see them. And that's where that mirroring pinches off this, and the light drowns out whatever objects that are out there. So I was fortunate enough to get some good quality days in some of my videos, and I have found them throughout all my files. And this is what I want to do. I want to start presenting a lot of the stuff that I've had personally for myself, and start posting it, uploading it, so people can watch it and give their opinion on it. And that's all my stuff is I'm an observer. I do a lot of observational videos, and I've been learning quite a bit from my own observations. So I hope you enjoy it. You can like, subscribe, use my footage if you like. Now this right here was my little GoPro camera on my flats boat, and as you can tell, we got our ass beat that day. It pounded the crap out of us, and I put the last part on because I didn't think you'd want to watch this camera bouncing all over, my boat bouncing all over. But it took me about 20 minutes to get out there. And it's only 4 miles away, but it was rough, so I can't go the speed I normally do. I usually go wide open at about 35 miles an hour, but this particular day I was lucky to do 20. I wanted to show people that I did drive out here to this Bayport channel marker, and by my GPS it does show that it's 4 miles. Now my friend will say in here it's 8 miles in the video, but no, I assure you, he was on an 8-mile zoom out, so he was assuming it was 8 miles out, but we weren't 8 miles out. That I'll tell you for a fact. time and date stamp is wrong on this because I never set it. It was a new camera, so I never set the time and date on it. So it is wrong because, of course, I'm not out there at that late of the day.
That's what it says. See, look, there's the mark. Here's where we're at, and it says to get back to shore. It says 8 miles. Because I'm zoomed out 8 miles onto the rack.
Trying to get it on my phone. I don't know if I can see it. It might show up.
Should already be marked on your GPS, ain't it?
There ain't one out there.
No? See, now watch. To get back to the boat ramp, watch. I'll go in. Right there, there's the boat ramp, 8 miles.
Okay, I put a couple of pictures up here, and this is what you'd see as you were approaching this bird rack. It has these slats out in the very front of it, facing back toward.
This is the bird rack that I'm always filming from
Yeah, see, it's marked
Bayport.
I got it marked. Look what it says right there. There's the mileage right there.
I can't get in on that. I won't read it. Say what it says, Jimmy.
8 miles exactly.
8 miles to shore exactly from here.
That's what it says. See, look. There's the mark. Here's where we're at, and it says to get back to shore, it says 8 miles. Because I'm zoomed out 8 miles onto the rack.
I'm trying to get it on my phone. I don't know if I can see it. It might show up. All right.
Okay, again, I want to state that that is not 8 miles. It's half that distance. Now, it might have been 6 miles with all the curvy that we do from the shoreline, but it's not 8 miles. This is exactly 4 miles to this bird. All right, I was doing a a little test on this board. Now, this board's 8 foot long, and what I wanted to do was get down even with it. And what I did was I put some wires out in front at the other end of the board to see if a closer object would block out a farther object. And, you know, my wires are going to act like waves. So that's what I'm looking at is, you know, the waves that my camera can see, or the visual water line that my camera can see. Can they even block out the bottom ends of a hull of a boat? Also, you got to realize too that the resolution that my camera is actually focusing in on that water line, where anything past that is going to be out of focus, and also the refraction in this is going to pop up. So I thought I'd use this. I did this test a while back, but after watching it a couple of times, I noticed a few other things that, you know, when I'm even with the board itself, the top surface, I mean, you can see where the top surface is. You see that black line that was down at the bottom of the board. That's one of the grains of the plywood. So think about everything above that. And that 8 foot board is just turns into that little sliver. You would not know at this angle that that board is 8 foot long, and that's the same thing that we get when we're out on the water zooming out across the top of that surface. Is you can't determine how far it is very easy because of our angular resolution on the water. So again, you know, I take all this stuff into consideration and try to make sense out of it. And the more I observe, the more sense I make out of the mirroring, the refraction, the reflection, you you know, and I think that there's a lot that all kinds of effects causes this, or should I say, there's a lot of things that cause the effects that we see out on the water. All right, I'm gonna let it go back to the original audio on this.
Yeah.
It'll be full time, not too before long.
You know, Timmy, I really don't know why people don't realize this.
What?
How stupid we've been. I mean, to really believe that we live on this spinning ball spinning at 1,000 miles an hour.
People are stupid. I'm a lot more than just that.
When we have, I mean, we've been programmed not to use our own damn brains. Because, I mean, this is pretty obvious. The higher up I go, I mean, and this is just a short little distance, the more of the plane I can see. So, obviously, the boat is sitting flat on the board. But, again, as I lower my angle down, all these waves, or in my case, my little wires that I put out here, start to hide the boat. Hide my boat. Look at that. And you can see some refraction going on there. Kind of like some miraging. Yeah, it gets kind of out of focus a little bit, but I can fix that.
Well, I was going to go and ask Barbara.
Brenda asked me if I was going, but I said no.
He's going on his surgery like in an hour. He's going to get out of surgery. It's almost 4, so he's not going to get into surgery for almost 5.
Okay.
Out of surgery until 6
Now,
at the earliest.
what I'm going to do...
The anesthesia, he ain't going to know who the hell's there until tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I'm trying to fix my camera here to stay on the boat.
I mean, yes, I know there's a risk with every single surgery, but
And then
it's happening. You're going away at a time?
Yep.
And Robert probably won't be able to get, the orthoscopic done. It's probably not legal. This is so bad.
two, three, four.
When I'm over there, Dave, I wiped down the surface. I'm just going to put my carbons on.
Now my little wires, I don't think are doing a whole heck of a lot.
Too flat, Dave.
Well, actually, I think my wires are being blended in here.
Yeah, these are tiny little feet that keep up that board.
Well, I noticed something too when I was videotaping the boats. The telephone wires I was actually seeing through. Well, the telephone wires went out of focus, but it allowed me to see right through them, which is weird.
Not as much as you may think.
But I wish my focus was a little bit better on here.
Zooming so far.
I might have to do it a little bit.
It's like when birds fly across your camera, they're a little blue. I want to get that done before your rain gets in.
Well, I'm going to do this underwater too. Oh, what rain? That's going that way.
Some of it I'm already.
Yeah, when I picked up Dallas, I thought.
Oh, you picked up Dallas.
Yeah.
Why does nobody listen to me?
Why?
Because they called me. Granted, yeah, I was working, but I could have left by 1:30 to pick her up.
Yeah.
which is what I pretty much almost did, was left around one.
And again, I'm going to crank it up here.
Like I said, I'll have time. She might have to stand around for 5 minutes. You got to see nice and firsthand how fucking kids drive.
Come on. Get focus. Here we go.
Yeah, that's what happens involved.
It's pretty level right there.
They'll probably be here in an hour.
I'm going to get right.
Not sooner.
Right there. Pretty level to me. You can see the front little piece sticking up there. And let's see what happens if the waves are closer, bigger waves, closer. Well, I'm actually seeing through that piece of wire.
You might see me back across the street for a minute, picking up Mom's prescription that she forgot since Friday. And probably some bananas.
See with that.
Sure, I'll see you soon running up there, so
All right.
have fun. Don't get your camera wet.
Oh, I won't. Yeah, I put these ain't even as big as that board or that piece of plastic back there, but we're going to lay the 5-strand or 8-strand down, whichever that is. And it's kind of hard to do this because I'm actually a piece of wire is going out of focus, and it's allowing me to kind of see through it. Let's go back further and try this. Nice. I'm gonna walk back farther. Maybe I won't get so much of the blaring, and maybe I can focus in on it better. Okay. And crank my tripod up. It's only going up about a foot. Okay. So we can obviously see my little makeshift boat. Boom, there it is. Look at that. Now we're going to bring it down even with the board. Hang on here. Not too sturdy with it being jacked up on this thing. Even the glare of the board is blocking out the boat. The refraction does have something to do with it. Now you see how that my ship is sinking. due to just a little wire in front of it. We had 2 people helping with this experiment. So you can see how these little items or objects or waves I want to make out as these wires that I'm laying across there are like waves. And while we're going to zoom in a little bit here so you can see how my boat, the lower end, my hull, is being blocked out by a wave. Now imagine if I had a 60-foot board doing this experiment with, how much more of the boat I would lose.
I know my video is long and probably boring, but I do show some good observations, and I think that you ought to use these for your own visual. And you can see how this water is, you know, causing a big issue, especially the mirroring. Causes a lot of illusions out there on the water, and one of the biggest illusions I say that it does is it makes these boats look like they're going over a curve. But if you really examine them and analyze my videos, you'll see that there's no curve. It's just being distorted and hidden behind this mirroring horizon line. All right. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation. I hope you learned something. And whether you take my opinion that I give in some of these things, that's up to you. Again, I'm not trying to force anybody to believe anything. I just do these observations. I give you my opinion of it, and it's up to you whether or not you want to accept my opinion or deny my opinion. But again, I'm not going to get angry that you don't take my word for it, unless you come on my channel and insult the hell out of me and mock me. I'll either block you or just delete you altogether. All right, so like, subscribe, share, use this video, any portion of it you like, to show others, and hopefully we can get down to the real truth of the shape of the earth. All right, thanks. I hope you enjoyed it.